All right, let's turn on the mic. We here? I think we're good. All right. Hey there. Hey, everybody. Just getting set. Everyone, if you're in the chat, let me know that you're here, that you can hear me, and that everything is rolling properly. Audio's good. Sweet, sweet. All right, we'll give it just a minute. I'll stall for another minute or two. Let people get here. And then we'll get started. Hope everyone had a nice holiday, nice Thanksgiving, nice break. If you had a break, I did not have a break at all. This is the opposite of a break. This was it's a lot right now, in all good reasons though. So we got a season coming, trying to make sense of it. So let's see here. I'm gonna pop out that link one more time. Make sure I got it right here. Give me a moment. Like I said, I'm stalling just for another second. Let people join us. All right. Okay. Let's take a look here. So I hope I'm this is, I don't know what stream number this is, but I feel like I'm getting a little better at it. But I'm open to thoughts and hit me up on Twitter or in the comments, or when this, if you're watching this after the stream, give me some feedback in the comments. Let me know what's going on. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, so that you know when I'm streaming, because you don't want to miss these, and it helps me, of course. I think this is the first time I'm officially monetized, so share this thing. I want to thank all you guys so much for your participation, especially the last stream, which was kind of bonkers as far as the viewership. So really good times, really happy. There might be a way to donate money, and if there is, I've never seen it. This is all new for me. So if you see a way to donate money, that'd be awesome, to thank me for what I'm doing, thank me for my time. Also, I posted it a second ago. I'll post it again. We're going to use a Google Sheet to work together. So I'm going to paste it right here into chat. This is where we'll do the work. I recommend you jump in there. It's a public page, and all the previous streams are there. And we'll be able to do it together, and you can look at the work. And I think that helps learning, as opposed to just me telling you stuff. If you can look at the numbers. And I like to start with a blank canvas, and we'll get to that in a minute. And we'll fill it all in together, go through it, and all that. Stalling a tiny bit more, but almost ready to get going. What's up, DP30? Ari, Shravan, Yitzi, Russ, Jiggy G, Tango, Todd Tango. What's up? Is that Todd Tango? I think it is. Carl, Maddie, Graham, Russ. If I missed you, let me know. Adrian, Mohammed, Slam and Jam, Travis Tango. Are you related to Todd Tango? Mikel, if I'm saying it wrong. What's up, Todd? It's been a while. We're not going to do Spurs talk, though. So I do plan on doing a stream for every team over the coming weeks. And the schedule. Oh, Carl. Okay, so this is my Carl. That is my first official YouTube donation. That is incredibly awesome. So thank you. That's awesome. So if you see that, this is cool. I love it. I love it. So what I was saying is I'm thinking about doing a stream for every team. And so I know that based on the coverage, I've always covered LA teams, and I know there's a bigger fan base for the Lakers. And if you're a Clipper fan, it's the truth. So the Clippers, I'm very happy for the success they've had compared to what they used to be when I first started covering them. But I have a huge fan base, or at least the Lakers have a huge fan base that is familiar. They're familiar with my work. So we're going to cover Lakers probably a little bit more on this stream. Well, certainly today, but in general, I'll probably stream a little bit more on the Lakers because that's my area of coverage. But I do want to cover every team, and so we'll do one stream per team to look at where they were at the end of last year and how they got to the start of this year. And we're not there yet, right? We just have the Anthony Davis signing. I don't even have the numbers yet. We're going to estimate them. But once it's settled and we get to training camp, then we get past training camp, teams cut down, and we have the start of the regular season. Then we can really start digging into each team's roster, figure out what they are, how they got here, and then we can start to maybe project where they're going. The numbers tell you a lot, so it's pretty darn cool. So let's see if there was anyone else I want to say quick. What's up, Randall, Alan, JWise, Go Family, Go. Oh, all right, DP30, thank you. That's Devin, right? You guys are awesome. Okay, I've stalled enough, so let's get it. Lemuel is like Bobby Marks has the estimate. I try to follow as much Twitter as I can, but the way things are right now, I just can't keep up. So I haven't seen what's up, Devin. I haven't seen what Bobby put in for the estimate. It's pretty easy. We'll go through it. He probably got the max, and the max is the max, right? Travis Tango says, "Go Lakers," waiting to see who they look at for the last roster spot. That is something we're going to get into. Why do they only have one roster spot when they have two roster spots, right? Don't they have two? Yes, they do. How do they get to two? How do they fill two? They don't. Eventually, they do. So if you look back at the last stream, and if you participated, I got to thank Rafi. Awesome. You guys are awesome. This is very, very cool. If you look at the last stream, we projected, I don't even remember the last stream. I mean, this week has been, I feel like it's been a month since I last streamed. It's only a week. But I know that we looked at like what the Lakers were probably doing, and I know we backtracked. Maybe it was 2 streams ago. What did the Lakers do with KCP and all that stuff? So we have more concrete information now on what the Lakers have done and what they're doing. We're going to make sense of where they're going, and that's what the goal of today's stream is. So if you're a Spurs fan like Mr. Tango, come and watch to learn. I really think that if you really want to learn about your team, that you need to learn the rules in general. That's how I got into this part of the business, was covering the Lakers. I needed to know how do they get better? Or when I was covering the Clippers, how do they get better? You have to know who's a free agent, what the rules are. And so that's kind of what the goal is here. So even if you're not a Laker fan, and if you're a fan of another team, I think there's still a lot to learn here. And I'm a fan of the league. I'm a fan of everything here at this point. I love seeing what happens. So we'll make sense of it in just a moment. There's I think we're ready. Okay. So what do we need to do first? Let's jump over to Basketball Insiders. Okay. So the way it works is I update all 30 sheets as quickly as I can. And I've never been this far behind before in my life because the NBA has never been so compact like this before. So, I got to say at the top, a few more things. The music at the beginning is from my wife, Dorothy Pincus, or Dottie P. You can check out her link in the description to some of her music. She's a producer, and if you're looking for a producer, check it out. She's also a singer and has done way cooler stuff than I've ever done. Including she's on I don't want to brag about her, but someone has to, but she's on Dr. Dre's stuff. She did some stuff with Tupac and some of the Snoop Dogg and the greats. So that's the music at the top, and also the graphic is from my daughter Juliana, who's going to be eventually going to art school. That's JWise, that's my daughter Juliana. So okay, so and then the other thing, like the stream, just clicking like helps a lot. I guess something about algorithms, so please hit like. Subscribe helps me a lot. I want to get to the point I can open up a merchandise store, but you have to get to a whole bunch of subscribers to do that, and likes, and then hit the notification bell. And then also I'm going to give it one more time, the Google Doc. You'll notice at the top I have the Venmo link. If you're interested in a donation and you don't want to do it here, you want to do it at Venmo, I get 100% of that, versus YouTube. I think they take a cut of these, which that's fine with me. Anything you do is generous, and if you can't afford it, don't even think about it. It's cool. But if you can't support the arts, if this is when I look at it as an art. And then also on Patreon, I'm on Eric Pincus on Patreon. Sign up for that, and if you sign up for that, I will hook you up with the Discord link. We've got a nice community. We had a lot of fun during all the last week or so, just trying to cope and make sense of everything. In fact, they helped me as things were going down. I was on some live streams I was on some shows and they were like pinging me with all the updated deals. So hit me up on the Patreon, and I'll probably give you a Discord link at the bottom level, which is like $5 a month or something like that, and that would be awesome. And then you can get in on the Discord, and then you can ask me questions all the time. And I post a lot more stuff there, even more so than I do on Twitter. Okay, so let's dig in here. So these are not up to date. Here's the Lakers. And so it's as up to date as I could make it, to the point of Jared Dudley signing. So we can actually add him in. So why don't we do that real quick? I can't let you see the interface for it, but I can punch him in real quick. And I'm not going to do everything that I do with all the notes, but we'll just pop in his number real quick. Jared Dudley. So he's going to be a minimum, and I'll just punch that in. You're messed up when you like know the minimum numbers out of your in your head, like you don't have to look them up. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'll fill in the rest later. I'll just punch in just his very basic stuff, and let's see if he updates. Now refresh the page. Did it work? There he is. So Jared Dudley's in there. Okay, so that's how the magic happens. We're gonna need to update LeBron, and we're gonna need to update AD. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's jump over to the Google Sheet, and we'll do this together. So I recommend you jump in and follow along, and we will go through the math and we'll make sense of all of this here. All right, let's take a look here. Lemuel asks, how come Dudley has a bigger minimum than Markieff Morris? Well, we can start with that. All right, let's take a look here. I'm revising. My sheets are like all over the place. All the data's there, but it is not ready for public consumption. Let's take a quick look at the minimum table. Okay, so I just pasted this in. Again, let me know in the chat if there's any issues, and if you're having trouble seeing something or anything like that. This is the years of service table. Well, it's the minimum service. It's the minimum table, minimum salary table. But years of service is this column here. Let's call it YOS, years of service, min table. And I'll spell it out because not everyone will remember that. Years of service. Okay, so the way it works for someone like Markieff, I believe that Markieff is 9. I'll double check that. I'm going to pull up my Lakers page internally. And like I said, 8 or 9. What is he, 9, right? Yeah, he's 9. Jared is 13. So this is the number that Markieff is eligible for. This is the number that Jared is by years of service. So he got a little bit more. Now Markieff was eligible for this times 1.2 if he signed via bird rights, non-bird rights. So there's an interesting thing that happened with the Clippers with Patrick Patterson, and I'll pull him up real quick. So Patterson has 10 years of service, and he made the minimum last year. And so if we look at it like this, the minimum, and then we multiply it, when you have non-bird rights, you can get up to 120%. So this is 120% raise. 120% raise. Make sure you can see that. Okay, non-bird. So Patrick Patterson signed for that amount, right? So he signed for, this is what I have in my notes. Oops, that is not what I have in my notes. Let's try that again. Okay, I just haven't plugged this in yet. So this is the number for Patrick Patterson. This is the number for Markieff Morris. This is what he made last year. So 2019-20, 2020-21. And this is the cap number. So these are cap numbers. So the way it works is that the Lakers will pay Markieff $2.3 million, right? And the Clippers will pay Patterson 3.077, 3.1 basically. And the Lakers could have paid Markieff back, and let's say this again. They could have paid Markieff that amount, and they chose, or rather, he agreed not to take that number. He instead accepted. I haven't. Thank you, Yitzi. I am not using last year's numbers, or actually, I am, because last year's numbers are this year's numbers. What's missing is the heading. I haven't updated. I'm updating it on my sheet now, so we don't have that issue next stream. And I'll paste that right there. Yeah, we're using this year's numbers. They're the same. I just forgot to update the heading because the cap didn't change. But the issue here is that the Lakers are going to. Markieff could have said, "No, I'm not coming back unless you pay me the most that you can pay me," which was $3 million. And if they had agreed to that, he would have been on their books at $3 million. But because he took the minimum, the Lakers will pay him 2.3, and the league will reimburse him for the difference between the 2-year vet minimum. So if we go and do Markieff salary, 2331593, and Markieff, the 2-year vet min, scroll down a little bit for y'all, of 1620564. I hid the thing. That's a good question. Is there a shortcut key to formatting? I'm trying to save some screen space. Let's try that again. Give me a second. All right. I almost want to go back to Excel and stream on Excel. I just am so much better at Excel than I am with Google Sheets. I like it. It's just not as. See, there we are. It's just not quite where I need it to be. All right, all good. So Markieff, the difference is going to be this, right? He's going to get $2.3 million from the Lakers. The league is going to reimburse him for $711,000. The Lakers will end up paying a net of 1.6, and their books are hit at 1.6. But in the case of Patterson, because he didn't take a minimum, he got his 120%, which is what Markieff was eligible for and was willing to accept less. Patterson is taking up $3 full million on the books, even though there's only a $700,000 difference, roughly, or whatever it is between the two, what the two players are making. Markieff is taking up 1.4, basically 1.5 less on the Lakers' books, and both teams have a hard cap. So that was very helpful of Markieff from a salary cap perspective. If you're the Lakers, you ask them to do it. And maybe they do it, maybe they don't. If he had a bigger offer somewhere else, maybe he would have gone. Maybe he had an offer that was close but not enough. Maybe LeBron got in his ear and said, "Hey, man, you got to come back," and that was enough. All right, so let's take a look here. Taking a quick look at the chat. Make sure we're good. Okay, so cool deal. Let's keep going. There are questions coming in. I want to stay on track, so let's look at what the Lakers have done. And we looked at the Basketball Insider sheet briefly. We added who we added, right? But let's go ahead and build it out ourselves. Now, I'm not going to go over every detail like we did. I don't want to repeat what we did last stream. So if you want to check it out, go ahead and check it out. Just look at the last stream, and you'll see where I came up with some of these figures, like reverse engineering the Jordan Bell number and that sort of thing. Okay, let's copy this in. Everything's going to take a little bit longer because it's not as organized as it needs to be. Actually, I need more data than that. Let's get all this. You know what? I don't want to spoil you guys, so let me delete. Pardon me. I want to delete the LeBron and AD stuff. All right, and you know what? I'm missing a figure. We're going to jump back. Actually, you know what? We'll do one thing at a time. Okay, give a second here. I want to copy in all their salaries. And I have a whole new system that I'm building out, so everything is not quite ready, so this is taking a little bit longer. Bear with me. can't even just copy and paste the usual way. Okay, there we go. Okay, sweet. So we're missing a figure here. Let's go get it. We're missing this one right here because I opted him out. Let's jump back. That goes right here. Okay, sweet. Forget these percentages. Don't need to know this. Maybe one day we'll get into that. I can't give away all my tricks. Okay, there we are. Okay, so let's take a look at what happened. So we have LeBron. This is his 2021 salary. And let me just make sure we're good. Okay, and so he took a 2-year extension. So I do not have the figures, but we can figure them out together. So there's a few things. LeBron James over 38 rule. So we're going to talk about real quick the over 38 rule, which is a complicated one. And we're not going to get it's not terribly complicated, but it's complicated enough to trip up Daryl Morey a few years ago when they signed Nene to an illegal contract. It used to be the over 36 rule, and with the leadership of Chris Paul and LeBron James in the negotiations, they pushed that back because, they're getting close to that age and wanted to make sure they can get a little bit more money. So much respect there. They've done a lot of great things for the game. All right, so what is the issue with LeBron James? So I'm going to jump to Google real quick. We're going to look up LeBron James birthday. I have that, but there it is. Just get it real quick there. And that was easy. Okay, so it's December 30th. So right now he is, how old is LeBron? Give me a second. There it is. Okay. So what year is this? This is 2020, right? So he is what, 36? Or he's 35 right now. He'll be 36 in a month. So he's 35 years old right now. So if we look at where he'll be at the start, before the season starts. But when does the season start? It's not the season like the games. It's the year. I think it's actually an October date, but we'll just, for simplicity purposes, we'll just call it July 1st in a normal world. I think it might be October 1st. Let's pull it up. CBA. Let's take a moment and look at that together. Okay, so let's see, 38. Don't have the page handy. Give me a second. Come on. All right, we're getting there. I don't know what page it's on. Deferred compensation. Okay, there it is. So this is the CBA. So if you look at the top of the Google sheet, I guess I'll jump to that real quick. Jumping around a bit. Oop, wrong camera. All right, try that again. So if you look at the top of the Google sheet on line 9, there's a link to the to the CBA itself. Larry Kuhn's FAQ is the line above, which is your best resource. And then there's the Basketball Insider's salary pages. Good links to know. But let's jump back to the CBA. All right, so I am looking at, this is article in the version I have, which I don't know if I have the exact same version as the union. So sometimes the page numberings can be off. I have it on page 167. It might not be on 167 in the download there. I don't know. But it is Article 2, and we're in Section 3, Determination of Salary, Deferred Compensation over 38 rule. So it's a lot of words, and we're not going to dissect every bit of it. But the basic idea is that the key things to note is that it applies to contracts, extensions, or renegotiations. So in this case, it's an extension that covers 4 or more seasons, okay? So that is an issue. So if he had taken a 4-year one, we'll talk about that, and including 1 or more seasons commencing after such player will reach or has reached age 38. And then there's an exception. Except as provided that, okay, the aggregate salary, okay, so this is explaining what happens. And all we have to know as far as what happens is that basically they make it so that it's deferred compensation, so that if you get your fourth year, they're basically saying, no, you're not going to, we don't think you're going to earn it. We don't think you're going to play that year. So we're going to take away that year. You're still going to get the money, but we're going to average it out over the 3 seasons. So here's 4. We're taking this away. You're still going to play that year. We're going to average the income over these 3 seasons. See, I don't need Excel. We got fingers, right? So the problem is that if LeBron is getting the max on this finger, and now he has to average in a third or a fourth rather of this money, or a third rather, into this, he can't go over the max. So it's actually going to reduce his salary. So that's as far as we'll go with it. Simple terms, there's no incentive for a player to take that extra year once you're in an over 38 situation, because you make no more money. It's the same money as signing for 3. Why would you sign for 4 for the same as you can sign for 3? And then there's this part here says for over 38 contracts. So that doesn't apply because we're talking about extension. Then we're talking about the second part here, contract. Not talking about contract. And then we're talking about any contract. Well, let me make sure that's right. A player's, I think I might have it. No, it's an over 38. There's a distinction between contract and, I want to make sure I'm not, okay, to any player contract. So that's not the right word to emphasize. There it is. It's part 4, a qualifying veteran free agent. So had he gotten a free agency, the over 38 rule actually wouldn't have applied, even though he would have been over 38. So he could have gotten a longer deal had he waited. But LeBron is going to be able to get contracts for as long as he wants, and he wanted to get his money now, and the Lakers aren't going to say no. And then 0 year. This is what I was looking up. Okay, this is what I wanted. For purposes of the season commences on October 1st. That's what I was looking for. I knew it wasn't the normal start time, so we're going to jump back. That's what I needed to look up. I know that was a little bit rambling. There we are. But I needed to get that. So, yep, I even said it might be October 1st. So, good memory. Okay, so as of October 1st, basically, he'll be 35 this season, right? So no, he won't. So he'll be 35 at the start of October 1st. So this is 2019-20, 2020, or rather 2020-21, 2020-21, 2021-22, and the fill handle should work from here. At least it would in Excel. Oops. Nope. 2022, 23, 2023, 24. So we're trying to understand, why did he not take a 4-year? Because why not, right? Like, why wouldn't he? Why would he just take 3 years? So if you notice, he would have been 38. So this would trigger the 38 rule, because the over 38 rule. He'll be 38 before October 1st. That's the issue. So what would have happened for LeBron, and let's go ahead and drop in these. You know what? Let me pull up the previous year. This will be easier to copy and paste some things. Okay, there we are. So had LeBron done this, I guess we don't need this year. Let's put that at the end. Call it 2023-24. So the issue would be, the most he can do anyway is a 5-year extension. But you have to, in an extension, count the current year. So let me get this straight here. 2021, 22, okay, 24, 25. Okay, there we are. So he was eligible for if he wasn't this age, a 5-year extension. But you start with the year you're in. This is a current year. So well, we know it's the current season, but this would be year 1. This would be year 2, 3, 4, 5. So what he could have done was do extension, extension, extension. Or he could do this, opt out, and do a four additional years. But you can't go more than this. So you could add 4 years, or 3 years, or you could add 4. Can add 3, can add 4. But the bold triggers over 38, so it's a no-go. All right, so that's the rule. So this is the situation. LeBron added 2 years is what it sounded like when the report came out. He signed a 2-year extension. I think that's what the report was. By the league, he actually signed a 3-year extension because this is part of the extension the current year. I don't know why they do it that way. Makes 0 sense to me, but that's how they do it. Okay, I think we're good. How are we doing in the chat? I see a lot of activity there, so it looks like we're pretty good. Okay, let me know if there's any questions here or if there's anything I'm missing, and just let me know that you're hearing me and everything's cool. But it looks like the chat's going, so we're good. Okay, so LeBron basically has a choice, right? JYs, don't worry. We'll talk about the difference between a player option and ETO. We'll get to it. I promise. So in the case of LeBron, right, like he could do this. He could add 1 additional year, and to do so, he would be able to add up to 120% or 105%. And this can't be more than the max, and this can't be more than the max. So for that year, for 2022-23, the projected max by the league at this point, let's see, that's 21, 20, okay, I think this is what I have for projections. Okay, so this is the cap. So his max in this year would be 35%. LeBron, well, this is the 3-year max. So this is the most, if he opted in to take his extension, this is the most he can get if he's getting the league-wide max, or he can get this times 1.05, which is his personal max, or he could get this times 1 point, actually, it wouldn't just be that, it would be the max, well, you could take an extension for 120. So 1.2, 120% extension. So LeBron can only get, so let's put it this way. LeBron can't get more than his personal max unless the 3-year max is higher. That makes sense? Everything good? I see someone says they can't hear me. Is everything good? I think, let me just type it in here. I see one person can't hear me, so it makes me worry a little bit. Pull up. Everything good? All right, sweet. I did, for those who care, I plugged in a long cable. This is going all the way downstairs. I hardwired. Just for streams, I'll hardwire. I'll run a cord from the upstairs all the way down to the router downstairs. Is what it is. We had a little bit of a. Since Google Global Mystic Man is saying and click the present. Okay, that looks like spam. At some point I do need a moderator, and I know some people offered last week. I'm still not quite this. Just too overwhelmed with trying to get the salary cap together. All the sheets together. So let's keep going. So we've established the over 38 rule. Now we're looking at LeBron and we're saying, what's the most that LeBron can get? So if he opted in the most he can get would be that 105 personal max. Now let's take a look at what would happen if he opted. So this is the opted. Let's write it out here. Let's copy this here so that it's clear, and then do that. And so we would do this, his personal max times 1.05, because that's less than, it's more than the 3-year max, but he can go to 105. He can't go to his full 120%. This would be if he opted in, reset. Okay, so if we total up the whole thing, what does he get over the 3 years? Okay, or he could do this, which we'll punch in here. Option, let's look at it if LeBron opted out. Okay. Oh, reminder, like the page, subscribe, hit notification. I'm going to give you that link one more time to the Google Doc. If you have the means and you can donate into the chat, that'd be awesome. If you can donate via Venmo or Patreon. If you sign up with Patreon, you get an access to my Discord server, and we get to chat, ask questions, and we can just kind of non-streaming hours. You can get better direct access to me, and it's a nice little community we're building of people who want to talk about this stuff night and day. So, okay, so now we're going to look at what happens if he opted out, right? So if he opted out, what is the max that he can get? So we'll go with the same idea. We can look at the max right now, which is 109. Actually, it's the max for next season. And if we look at this times 0.35, this is the 3-year max. If we take his previous salary, and he could do 105, which is his personal max, or he could do this times 1.2, which is the extension, 120% extension. So this is over the league max. This is over the personal max. So it's out. This is less than his personal max. Gotcha, guys. Yeah, I scrolled down. Took a minute to notice. Thank you for chatting. Always hit me up if you see something funky. Okay, so this is the one here. So that's what he can get. Okay, so if we follow the logic here, and he opted out, and the most he can take is 41,180,544, and then we do in this case, it's an 8% raise, because on an extension you get an 8% raise. Rather, in a contract you get 8% raises. If we take a look, one is more. It's not massively more, but it is more. And generally speaking, when it comes to money, people tend to want more. So LeBron, by doing what he did, gets an option, gets an extra 1.6 million. So when I say, oh, it's not a lot, well, I mean, it is kind of a lot. I mean, it's a lot, but it's also not a lot in the terms of 124 million. It's not a lot. So yeah, it's a lot of money. Okay, so that's the LeBron extension. I'm going to assume that that's what he's gone with. When you do an extension, you can't go past this. You can't opt out of a year and then do a 1-year extension, which is basically saying this is what's illegal. You can't do illegal. I'll opt out of 41,002,274 and extend for 1 year at 41,180,544, because basically what that's doing is just same length of contract and you're increasing money. The league doesn't allow a renegotiation like that. There is a case where you can renegotiate, but you need to have cap room to do it, and they did not have cap room, so it didn't come into play. So in LeBron's case, he had to add 1 more year, and because he had to add 1 more year, that year could not be an option year, player option, team option. ETO can only be given on 5-year deals. Doesn't apply. We'll talk about ETO shortly. Doesn't apply. Okay, so there's some stuff to look at, right? This is what I assume is the LeBron James extension. I'm going to plug it into Basketball Insiders right now. You get to see the magic happen live. Let's go. So you should see this page. You should see LeBron at that number. And I'm going to still call it an estimate because I don't go off of my own computations. I go off of the facts. That's my job as a reporter. But in the meantime, when we don't have the facts, we can look at the information and try to make sense of it together. But when it comes to publishing on Basketball Insiders, I use real information and not conjecture. So what I did is I put in an estimate. Give me a moment. I'm typing it all in, and I'm putting it in big, bold letters in the notes. And I'm going to put them in at the numbers that we calculated. That's for 2021. And then for 2022. And I assume in the next 24 hours or maybe 48, I'll get the actual figures. And we'll punch in that it's not estimated anymore. Let's take a look. All right, there we have it. LeBron James estimate. Make sure those numbers match. I have to be very gentle, careful. Okay. Okay, let's go back. So there. Well, let's take a look real quick. So we have a number right here that's obviously now very significant when it comes to the future, which is really the last part of the stream. The next part is going to be AD. We're going to take a moment and look at the Lakers hard cap to figure out how they get to the rest of the roster, and then after we're done with that, we're going to look to what does it mean for next year. And then I'll look at the chat and we'll go over any questions you might have, and then we'll call it a day. But as you can see, there's not like there's a little bit of there's a legend at the bottom. We have a player option. Montrez can, and I think likely will opt out. The Luol Deng money is not coming off. Kyle Kuzma is a qualifying offer. He doesn't have to stay if they don't want him. Marc Gasol would be very easy to trade if they needed to. Alfonso McKinney's not guaranteed. THT is a qualifying offer. He's not under contract. So there's very little on the books. It would not take a lot to get out of KCP's contract if they wanted to trade him. But you've got a 41 block right there, and you've got a $5 million there, and we're going to get into AD, and we're going to see what that means in just a few moments. So let's get back to this over here. Travis Tango saying that's what Bobby Marks got. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say that what I'm doing is magic, but it's really basic math and understanding the rules. Okay, so that's LeBron. Let me know, chat, how we're doing. Let me pull this over here. Give me a second. And there we are. Okay. Dead money, dang money. Sad dead money. Yeah, they tried to get Luol Deng off. I streamed about it, and I made the case of why it could happen, with the caveat that I didn't think it was going to. They needed to have proof, as much as proof could be made, that Luol Deng was not an NBA player when it comes to health by their medical records, and that, in a sense, the Wolves were negligent in signing him next year. That's a very, very difficult case to make, and one that obviously failed. It was worth a shot. I don't blame him for trying. All right, so let's get into Anthony Davis. So I do not have AD here other than a name. And so they have his bird rights, and I know this isn't on the screen yet. Let's punch this in real quick. And I guess we need to go 5 years. And they have his rights, so it's pretty straightforward. Figuring out what AD can get. I wrote about this on Bleacher Report last night, or I think yesterday. AD could have done a lot of different things, and I put forward that what he ended up doing was a real possibility, and we'll talk about why I think he did it, but we'll look at what he could have done as well. So taking a quick look at the Lakers, you know what? Let's go to the salary cap and pull up what the cap is. I know we did this already, but this is the cap. You know, let's just copy each. We need each year's. So let's do, we don't need all of them, but let's do a few of them. Okay. And reset this. And then he is a 8 YOS. I guess I'll need to double check that to make sure I don't get it wrong. I have that right here. Yep, 8 YOS. So when you're in the 0 to 6 range, YOS range, it's 25% of cap. If you're in the 7 to 9, it's 30%. And if it's 10 plus, it's 35. Oops. Give me a moment here. Okay, there we are. I got to remember to put that back before we're done. Okay, there we are. Okay, so this is what AD is eligible for. And so this is signing at 8. This would be at 9. This would be at 10. So had AD done this. Hey, what's up? I notice you, Kemd. It's easier if I miss you in the chat. If you really want me to notice you, you put in a little donation, and it makes it as such that I definitely see it, because it's like bolded and it's like big colors, and it's a little bit of a better way to get some attention there. All right, we'll go through the chat. I think everything looks good. I'll answer some questions a little bit later. But here we are. So this is AD signing a 5-year deal. So he would be eligible for the max, and he's going to get an 8% raise. Okay, so let's actually do this just for you to see that. This is his raise basis. So if we go this times 1.08, oops. Ari, I don't know. I've never seen the interface. He's asking, how do I donate? So I don't know how to do it directly through YouTube. It should be there. If it's not, oh, you're overseas. So do you have access to Venmo or Patreon? And if you do, it's at the top of the sheet as far as Venmo. If you don't, just shoot me an email and we'll figure it out. My email is also at the top of the sheet, isn't it? Yeah, it's at the top of the sheet. eric.pincus@gmail.com. I appreciate it very, very much. All right, so let's continue. But yeah, Venmo is the best, or Patreon. Any of those would be awesome. Okay, so let me just do this times 1.08. So that's his raise. So if you were to take this minus this, right? So now the little cheat formula I have is you take this number, multiply it times 2, subtract that. You could look and do math to figure out why that works. I'm not going to explain that, but that's my little shortcut. And then I copy and paste that. And we do sum. Oh, we signed a 5, so let's do one more year. Okay, so that is a 189.5 $0.9 million contract, which I think is the number that is reported. They probably called it 190, right? Isn't that what they reported? That's, to me, just very basic math. It's the max. The max raise is 8%. The raise basis is every year. It's not a compounding raise, so non-compounding. So if this is a mistake that a lot of people make early on when they're first learning this, they'll do like this times 1.08, and this times 1.08, and this times 1.08, and the same, right? Illegal. Not how the NBA works. This is just an example. So you don't compound raises. You instead go off of the raise basis. So JY's and a couple of the people, yeah. So you're asking, is this the Supermax? No, it's not the Supermax. This is the 7 to 9 max. The Supermax, there are two types of Supermaxes. There are the rookie Supermaxes, rookie scale Supermaxes, which are, they're actually called the rookie scale designated rookie scale exception and contract. And I might be getting that a little backwards. There's no mention of the Supermax in the CBA itself. That has been a tremendous success, the Supermax for the rookie scale players. And we're seeing that. Donovan Mitchell, I haven't looked at any of their deals yet. No, it's not the Todd's saying the DPVE. That's the veteran one. We're talking about the rookie scale one. That's the one that's been tremendously successful. And case in point, the Utah Jazz. So Donovan Mitchell, he took the extension right away. He's getting a Supermax if he qualifies. But he's getting an extra year. He basically signed a great contract for him, a 5-year extension. It's called a 6-year extension because you count this year, but it's really 5 additional years. And there was some concern that players didn't always stick around, especially off of their first contract after they were first-round pick. But we're seeing like Siakam, to a lesser extent, took one. Kyrie Irving took one back in the day with Cleveland. Right? Everybody's taking them as soon as you could possibly take them. Jason Tatum just took one. They're immensely successful. What's less successful in track record is the veteran Supermax. And because AD was traded to the Lakers, he is not eligible for a Supermax at all. So keep that in mind. Like Kawhi Leonard being traded to the Raptors lost the ability to be Supermax. Paul George, when he was traded from Indiana, lost his opportunity. But Damian Lillard just took a Supermax. So it's very spotty, hit and miss. Todd Tango says Cousins never got his offer. That's another thing. Teams are like, oh, we feel obligated. The player's not. We're going to give the player hundreds of millions of dollars. They're going to be pissed off at us because we didn't give him a Supermax. Some teams hate it. And they're like, oh, no, we're going to trade this guy because we can't invest that kind of money. So Harden got one, Westbrook got one, John Wall got one, and they're all, obviously Wall and Westbrook just got traded for each other. But AD is not eligible for Supermax. If he was, he would be signing at the 38 point right now. Not eligible. But he will be eligible for the top tier max. So at a point, he's no longer Supermax. He's just appropriate max of top tier max. So that's the question, right? So this is probably his deal. It is reported that he has an ETO, and I believe the reports. I haven't seen it with my own eyes. That's not green enough. Let's go with a brighter green for now. That's way too bright. All right. How about that one? Good enough. Why is AD not eligible? Because he was traded. He was traded to the Lakers. It's that simple. He would have been eligible for the... You have to be with your team after your rookie scale, after your first 4 years. You basically have to be with your team the rest of the way. Starting at, I think, at year 5, you have to be with your team, and you can't change teams via trade. Like, so Isaiah Thomas was traded in the first 4 years, so he was Supermax eligible with the Celtics. Obviously, they traded him. It didn't happen. But that's not the point. So trades are possible as long as they were in the early part of your career off of that first contract. We're talking about the second contract, and AD was traded on a second contract, no longer Supermax eligible. Have to be with the, so it's Todd, it's not the original team, it's the original team starting at a certain point. All right, so it's not in the first 4 years. And so that's why Isaiah Thomas in Boston, before they traded him for Kyrie, was Supermax eligible, wasn't Supermax eligible in Cleveland. And then you also have to qualify. The qualifiers are MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and all NBA first, second, or third team, I believe. So Abdullah is saying, how much did AD miss out on? So what he missed out on, were he eligible for Supermax, would have been this. That is not true. Let's try that again. I don't know why that didn't copy and paste properly. Okay. So by asking for a trade, his contract that he signed today is about $32 million less than he would have got had he stayed in New Orleans. So the question is, does Anthony Davis make up in endorsements and other means, business opportunities, being in LA, being on the Lakers, winning a championship, compared to New Orleans, not winning a championship there, living his life there successfully? Will he recoup that $32 million? I'm going to say yes, but I can't say for sure. But for him, this was the right business decision. So, all right. So, but that's neither here nor there. This would be if in New Orleans via Supermax. And there was no guarantee that he would have qualified either. So let's say he stays in New Orleans to get the Supermax, and then he doesn't qualify. Then he's still where he doesn't want to be, and he's making the 190 million, which no one's going to cry about, right? All right. So let's look at what AD could have done. So let's say he did this instead. What if he did a 3-year deal with a PO? Let's make that a PO. I'm just going to make it blue to represent a PO. And then, so he was at 8 here. He's at 9 here. So he'd be, let's say he opts out. He's at 10 YOS. So then at this point, he signs at the max, which if we say the cap is that. So he gets the, now it's not the Supermax, but it's the amount that a Supermax is, which is 35%. And let's say he signs a 5-year deal. Don't worry, J-Wise, I promise you we're going to get to the ETO, and we're so close to getting to the ETO and player option. You just got to hang with me here. All right, so if we multiply this times 1.08, and we multiply this times 2 minus that, and he would also get make sure I got it. There we are. Keyboard, come on. This. So okay, so let's say he signs a 5-year deal here. This is not at the Supermax, but it's equivalent to Supermax. It's just the age-appropriate max. $235 million. Okay. So this is Anthony Davis. This is signs, imagine he signs for 2 + 1 and opts out. So he would have made this. So what does that total up? And we actually need to expand our years a little bit. All right, almost there. 2025. 26, 2026, 27. Okay, so what he would have made in this scenario, he would have done 2 years. Grr. Paste special. And I gotta paste the formats. Yeah, I'm tempted to see if I can, if there's a way to publish an Excel sheet and do it in Excel, just because I'm just better at it. Just flat out, I've been using Excel for 100 years, and I've been using Google Sheets for a year, basically. All right, so he opted out in our theoretical thing, and then he re-signed for another 5 years. Same mistake. Copy and paste. Paste special. Paste. Is there a... They should give you a paste value and paste formula in one, and format rather in one. Okay, there we are. So this would be the life cycle of these two contracts. 314 million. So what AD has done differently. So I mean that's you know. Yeah, Travis, I'm gonna look into Excel and think about it, but we'll stay focused right now. It's just something to talk about at a later date. It's just comfort level. Okay, so let's take a look here. So let's say that, and let's paste the values as well, the formats. So we'll have AD. Oh no, I'm copying the wrong thing anyway. This is what AD actually signed in theory, and we don't know for sure. We're going off of reports. But I get a sense that reports are accurate, because these are some of the best people in our field getting the best info. Okay, so there you have it. So this is what, and we'll get to the ETO in just moments. This is his contract. So let's say that, do I have a cap number projected? Get it. So this is very rudimentary because the league has not projected. Ooh, you know what? I think oh, wait, I'm looking in the wrong sheet, aren't I? Give me a second. Pull up 20. Make sure I get my projections right, because this matters for our calculations. Okay, there it is. So we need to go a little bit further into the future. Okay, there you have it. And we'll do this. So this is what the caps... So these are very rudimentary projections that we're going to start. I mean, to be honest, there's probably going to be a new CBA way before any of this happens. So what we're talking about is just hypothetical. And this goes into the reason of why AD might have made the decision that he made. But if you take a look here, and if we look at the max, so what we need is we need this number right here. Okay, so this would in theory be the max for AD for opting out. And what we're going to do is, this is the we're going to do the same thing we did with Lebron. Okay, that's LeBron. Make sure you can see all this. Okay, so this is what we did with LeBron, right? This is the league max. In this case, we're not talking about an extension. We're talking about a contract. So he can sign up to 105% of his previous. So this is the personal max. So in this case, the league max is more than his personal max. So this one. Okay, so we'll assume he opts out and that he signs for the league max. And let's just go 1.08. Again, it'll probably be a different CBA by then, but we'll assume the rules are the same. All right, so so this color needs to reset. And then what we'll do is we'll just highlight it in yellow. New 5-year deal. And again, this is assuming this is an MVP caliber player for a really, really, really long time. That'd be $400 million in income over that period of time, which is outrageous. But God bless. You know, I mean, the players are the reason why we're tuning in here. We're not tuning in to see we're not tuning in to see Mark Cuban play basketball or Steve Ballmer or Jeannie Buss. As much as that might be fun for one night to watch them do an exhibition game. Okay. So, but what we're really more focused on is apples to apples comparison. So we're talking about this to this. Let me do a paste special. let's do this. Almost got it. Oops. Okay. So if we sum up this, I think I have a radio show. A radio show at some point. Check my calendar. Make sure I'm not forgetting. What day is it today? The 3rd. Yeah, I have an ESPN hit at 9 o'clock, so we are definitely going to be wrapping up before then. Okay, so if we take a look here, this is where this is really the end game of AD. We're going to talk about ETO. We're going to talk about I might do the future first and get to the hard cap later. I don't know. Let's see if we are on a clock, so I want to make sure we get everything in. So this is AD signing. AD signing a 5-year deal, opting, can't type all of a sudden, opting out 1 year, right, opting out after 4, re-signing for many more years, lots of money, but we're looking at the 2021 to 2026 period. Oops, 2027 period. Right, so this is what we computed for. Make sure I didn't lose track of it. Okay, this is AD signing a 3-year deal, opting out after 1, re-signing on a 5-year. So you can see that AD left more money on the table over this period of time, another 26. So we're talking about a player who, in theory, let go of left behind in New Orleans because he didn't take the Supermax, assuming he would have qualified. Let's go ahead and make that orange. Okay. And then left behind by not doing a 2+1, opting out for a new 5-year. We'll make that orange. So total left behind for certainty. Because this is easy for me to project his money and his decisions. But AD is left $58 million on the table in earnings that he could have gotten had he stayed in New Orleans, got the Supermax. We didn't yet gotten the Supermax, and I haven't even fully computed it because we're computing off of the non-Supermax. So we're not 100% apples to apples looking at exactly what happened. Had he taken a Supermax and then opted, I guess it would be 5 years he could opt out of the last year, and then we didn't compute those numbers over the same period of time. But we have at least an idea that AD is a human being who is willing to take a little bit less to make sure he gets a comfortable position. So, but this is really, this number here is the main one here. Let's put this over here. Gave up some money overall to make sure he got the most. Now, and let's look at what we're talking about, okay? What are we talking about? We're talking about this, right? AD could have signed for this. AD could have signed for this. Instead, he signed for this. We think. Again, I don't know for sure, because I haven't seen the contract, but we're going off of reported numbers. So is AD foolish? he didn't take. People saying, "Oh, AD should have taken $66 million less than what he just got in his contract, because maybe he could have gotten more in a different way." We're living in a world with COVID, and we're living in a world where crazy things happen. We've seen what happened to KD and Clay. We've seen guys fall off. We saw, the tragedy with Kobe. This is life. You have an opportunity right now to lock in another $66 million, and you're going to say no? How many of you are saying no to that because maybe down the road you can chase other money, right? He gave up, AD basically gave up the chance at 26.5 mil by signing for 66 million more mil. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I not making sense? Like, I get it. Like, if you said to me, like, right now, I can lock in an additional $66 million. But if you don't want that now, you have a chance of making 26.5 million more down the road, but you have to get through the next 2 years before you lock in that money. I'm not saying that's an easy answer. I would argue AD just made the sanest choice in this world. He has generational wealth locked in with that kind of money. He already had a lot of money, obviously. He's done really well for himself, but his last deal was signed on previous CBA, right? I don't know. When did he sign his last deal? I don't know if I have that, but he's making crazy money now. I'm not mad at what he did. It's less. I respect it. It gives the Lakers absolute joy to have him locked in, absolute knowing what he is and what he is. So this is my opinion of what AD is as far as money. And now we're going to get into the ETO thing. I think what I want to do for that is call up, I got permission from my friend Larry Kuhn to look at the FAQ and show it on stream. Okay, so let's see here. And that's not where we want. So JY's weren't you the one who was asking me about the ETO? I swear, I think you were the one asking me over and over again. I'm scrolling back. I'm here finally going about, yeah. Now I'm literally answering the question you asked, and now you're asking a different question. Let's stay focused, man. Let's look up the ETO first. Okay, what are option clauses? So this is Larry Kuhn's FAQ. If you want to learn the salary cap, this should be in your bookmarks. This should be something you digest regularly. When things happen, look and try to make sense of it. Question number 57, ETOs. So they can't happen before it's basically the end of his fourth year. He has an option to get out of his contract. Okay. So the way it works is this. J-Ways, I'm just messing with you. Have fun here. I'm not mad at you. An ETO works like this. If AD does nothing, he will have his fifth year of his contract. If a player has a player option, at the end of that fourth year, and they have a fifth-year player option, if they do not opt in, the contract expires. It's an agreement where you're basically given the right to extend the contract an additional year. Not like a contract extension, but it's pre-negotiated. So there was a case years ago, Anthony Carter, his agent didn't turn in the player option confirmation in time, and he opted out unintentionally, which allowed the Heat to sign Lamar Odom, which ultimately allowed them to trade Lamar to the Lakers for Shaq, which helped the Heat get a ring, which helped the Lakers get a ring, but it screwed the Clippers big time. I mean, there was a suspicion, a strong suspicion around the league that some malfeasance that the agent had helped the Heat by forgetting to opt in his player. And I can't say that happened. I wasn't there. I know that there are a lot of people around that time who believed that, but there's a lot of people who believe a lot of crazy things in this world. Doesn't mean they're true. Something to like cogitate over, think about. It's one of those NBA unproven conspiracy theories, which are in life can be more dangerous. But in the NBA, when we're just having some fun, not a big deal. Hey, chat, we all with me? Okay, Anthony Carr. All right, everyone's still there. Yeah, so I've been doing this a long time. So after a while, you feel like Groundhog's Day with Bill Murray, where you've just seen everything so much that at some point you know a lot just because you've been there and you just live through it. So, all right. Okay, so the ETO is the opposite. You don't do anything. Had Anthony Carter had an ETO and they forgot to send in a letter, then he would have had his contract and none of that would have happened. But you can't give out an ETO unless a player is on a 5-year deal, because it has to be at the end of the 4th season before the 5th. So they're very rare because there just simply aren't a lot of 5-year deals anymore. The last one to have one was Mike Conley Jr. When his expired, he did not use it, so he is on the Jazz for this year. That was the last one, and I was concerned because I use these things for tutoring, which reminds me to say that if anybody is looking to take the next step with this, I do tutoring. So hit me up. I charge an hourly rate, and I'm happy to do it. I've done it with some people in the chat. I've helped someone get a job recently with a team. I've helped agents pass the exam. I've worked with agents, and I've worked with people with teams. And happy to work with you. And it's similar to what we're doing, except it's one-on-one, and we really dig in together. You can email me about that. Also, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can know when I stream. If you can donate via the chat or Venmo, that helps so much. I have 3 kids and a beautiful wife, and they're expensive, and I'm trying to make ends meet in this difficult world. A lot of opportunities were missed by a lot of people. I'm doing probably better than a lot of people out there who are struggling to eat and are sick. So I'm grateful. And if you're struggling and you don't have any money to do that, just being here and supporting me in the chat, love it. However, if you do have the means, Venmo, and then if you do Patreon, you can get by subscribing on my Patreon, you can get access to my Discord server, which is really jumping lately and has been really a lot of fun. And you get a better chance to just ask me questions around the clock because I'm online all the time. And when messages pop up, I get into conversations, and then I post lots and lots of detail there. More than I do on Twitter, because I can't keep up on Twitter right now. There's so much going on. So I'm still on Twitter, but it's just hard to do all those sort of things. All right. So DP30, Devin is jumping ahead of me. So yes, once Mike Conley didn't have an ETO, I was concerned, but then Tommy Shepard was kind enough to give Davis Bertans one, and now Anthony Davis has one. So we good, chat? All right, so there are some subtle differences on the ETO. Hold on one second. Let me check the stream quality. We've been doing much better today. Everything says excellent condition. How much time we got? We got about half an hour before I got to get off for ESPN Radio. Okay, yeah, Tina, we have to get into all that stuff, which is the future. So we're going to hit all these things real quick. So let's wrap up the ETO. Main question about ETO. What's the difference? Almost nothing, except for what I talked about there. There are some differences on trade bonuses. If AD is traded, if he has a trade bonus, which I assume he does at 15%, that he will get that bonus. But if he's over the max, that bonus won't kick in. But in general, a trade bonus applies to an ETO. Whereas if it's a player option, you won't get a bonus on that year. There are some other subtle differences that have to do with future extensions, and there's a lot of tiny little detail in the CBA on the differences. Do they interest any of you? Not really. The main thing is that ETOs are assumed like they're going to happen. Player options are assumed that they're not going to happen. And a player has to actively opt out of their ETO. And one last tiny history lesson. It used to be when you could have 7-year deals that you could have an ETO on the 5th year before the 6th, and a player option before the 7th year, so you could opt out 2 years. But they cut down the length of contracts, and they only have ETOs in these rare cases. ETOs used to be a lot more common years and years ago, a long time ago. All right, so that's it. I hope I've answered your question there in enough detail. There's way more that is so insignificant. And I think, so we've talked about AD. We've talked about LeBron. We're running out of time. So what we need to do is we need to jump into what the Lakers look like with these numbers here, okay? So let's take a look real quick. Where did we pay? We did at the top. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. It's a little funky with the colors. I can't wait to get finished what I'm doing. I'm revamping everything I use internally, and it is going to be incredible. But it is nowhere near ready. I can't get... I started Atlanta, and I keep going, and then I get to like Houston, and then I'm going by city alphabetically, and then there's like the Hawks or the Hornets, or all these teams, the Celtics, and all these A through D teams or H teams make moves, and I keep going back, and I can't get forward because this is the most compressed we've ever had it. So I am putting in the projection here. Because we're late on stream, I'm not going to put it into Basketball Insiders at the moment. We'll do that later. Save time. Okay, so this is the salary cap. We're not looking at the hard cap yet. Okay, so this is where we stand for the future. So let me pull it up for myself over here. Keep moving. Trying to speed it up. All right, we're in the wrong book. 2020. There we are. Lakers. Okay, so there's a few things. Did I put in KCP? Yep. Did I put in Marc Gasol? Yep. Okay. So this is what I have for the projection so far. Oh, yeah, this is all a mess. I cannot wait till this is done. It is going to be awesome. But it is not done. Okay. There's some craziness here. So Marc Gasol. This is what I had before. And we're going to look at this. I know I'm going to scroll up. Don't worry, I'll get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost done. 11, 12. Okay. So this is where the Lakers would be in total salary next year before these extensions. This is 2021-22 pre-LeBron AD deals. And then this is the salary cap. Make sure I'm doing this right. I think I'm missing a little something here. There we are. Pay special. And so this is total. I'm not going to explain what roster charges are. We've done that before. You can look at the FAQ as to what that means, and you can ask me about it in a different context, email or whatever. But we're going to keep rolling. So this is cap room. Oops. This minus, oops. Try this again. This minus that. Yikes, that did not work. This minus that. So the Lakers would have had $86 million in cap room. However, the AD as a free agent would take up most of the 40 whatever or 30 whatever. LeBron would take up 40 whatever. So it's not real cap room. They would have had to re-sign the both of them. So let's say that they did. Oops. You know what I'm missing, right? I wonder if it's in the chat. Did anyone notice? I haven't checked the chat. Of course. Easy to forget this. I'm sure Mitch Kupchak would. Love to forget this signing. I like Lowell. He's a nice guy. He's was a really good basketball player in his heyday. Lakers just signed him to play the wrong position. He was no longer a small forward, and they had a bunch of power forwards, and they just drafted Julius Randle and Larry Nance and had all these power forwards. Then they signed a power forward because that's what Lowell was at that point. All right, $81 million. Make sure I got that right. Okay, so that's where they would be if they let go of LeBron and AD, and so they could sign crazy amounts of people. But that's not reality, right? Let's instead say that the Lakers. This is a fantasy world where they didn't give extensions. Lakers trade KCP, Marc Gasol, and the 2021 first after the draft. So this all happens at the start of that free agent period. They take no salary back. So they owe 1-7 in New Orleans. So I assume the Lakers are probably going to be 20-30. So they'll have their pick. Trade away without any salary back. Okay, so that's what we're assuming happens. Okay, I'm not replacing. I'm copying and pasting for those who want to follow along later. And so they've now traded everything. They have no players on their books. And let's say they re-sign AD. This is in a fantasy world where he's a free agent for $25 million. Yikes, 25, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. There it is. And they sign LeBron for, okay, LBJ. So they have $48 million in cap room. So let's go a little higher. Let's give AD 30. And so they need to have, for the max for next season, I know we computed it above, but I'll get it from over here. They need this much. Need for, we'll just say Giannis, right? This is the fantasy that everyone was contemplating, right? So this minus that, so 9 million more. So let's give AD his max. So let's say he did a 1+1 and he opts out. Let's just say he does. Let's just do 33 million even, just to be. Eek. Lordy, all right, I am off. There we are. So LeBron has another 6, so that'd be 31, 437, 220. So you can see if LeBron wanted to take a nice pay cut, if the Lakers wanted to trade everyone or let everyone walk in free agency, I mean everyone, then yes, they could have gotten to Giannis. But what are we talking about? This is not reality. It was never going to be reality. Now, it made a little bit more sense. Made a little bit more sense if Deng had come off. Right? Now you can pay LeBron 36. Right? So that's a little bit more reasonable, but you're still, KCP's gone. Everyone's gone. Caruso, the whole lot of them. All right, we've got about 25 minutes. I am not a fast streamer. I guess I like to take my time. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Basically, the Lakers could have made Giannis work, but only if they had given tremendous money. If only they had cut everybody and let everyone go, and then LeBron was willing to take it. It's nonsense. And I'm glad that everyone got over the nonsense of it, because come on, it was not going to happen. So let's get back to actual reality, okay? So let's punch it up here. Okay. How did that happen? Weird. Okay. Try that again. Okay, there it is. Okay, so something is off. Where are we off? I see. There it is. I'm not sure what happened up here. Let's Lakers. Okay, so this is what I want. Make sure I get this. So Lakers trade everyone. fix this for the people. Okay, there it is. All right, we're back to normal. Okay. So now we've got the reality. Now let's go ahead and punch in what we computed for LeBron and AD. So this will be, we're not worried about this year, we're worried about next. So this is Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And we had LeBron at 41-1. Where do we have it? There it is. There it is. Okay. Now you see the difference, right? KCP, Marc Gasol, the pick, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. This is the Lakers' books next year. They are what looks like under the cap by $6 million, which is nothing. It's you're over because the mid-level exception is more. So the Lakers will not have cap room. Now we could also say, well, let's go back. What if they do everything that we said here? Still trade everyone. Still cut everyone. Still start over, but with LBJ and AD on the books. So we're going to replace it. They get replaced with these roster charges. They've traded away everybody. So the Lakers can get to cap room next year. But what's the point of getting to 22 million in cap room to start over with what you've got building here, right? Why wouldn't you want Dennis Schroeder and Kuzma and Caruso and Taylor Horton Tucker? I mean, the Lakers are going to try to win this year and may very well win this year. Maybe they don't, maybe they do. From their point of view, you know, they think they want to, they think they have a real shot to do this. And I think by a lot of people's estimation, they will be in the running. So let's take a look at everything together. Okay, so we're just taking a look here, right? So bear with me because we're running out of time. Got about 15 minutes left. So we're not going to be able to do the hard cap stuff. That's all that we didn't get to today. So we'll have to save that a different day. Hopefully everything copy and pasted correctly. But now let's start plugging in, guys, right? Okay, so Dennis Schroeder, they have bird rights. So they can pay him up to the max. And Dennis will be a middle tier max. I'm not going to look it up but to verify his years of service, but unless I'm crazy, he's middle tier. And so middle tier we established was 33 something, right? Wasn't it right here for Giannis? Yeah. So you're not going to pay Dennis this much, but you can. So let's plug in a number. This is the max. So for one, they can give Dennis Schroeder an extension right now. He's eligible until the end of the year, before the start of next season. Next season being the year, the calendar year, not the start of next actual season, but before his contract expires in what would normally be June the 30th. It would be August the 1st, I think, is the revised date. You don't hold me to that. It's probably right. I'm going off of memory. And so in the case of Dennis, right now, they are limited in what they can give him. He would be considered an extend and trade if extended before 6 months after the trade. So in our case, it's not 6 months. It's, call it, let's see, 6 months from where we're in December, right? So 6 months would be, so let's say today he did it. So it'd be June, 6 months would be May 5th. So whatever May 5th corresponds to in the calendar. So I don't know, let's call it April. So let's call it April 10th. made up date. They could give him, let me copy this. So he's eligible for an extension, which would be 120%. And they could do this times 1.08. This is after the equivalent of 6 months. And they could do this times 2 minus that. And I believe it's for 5 years, but because this is year 1, so it would be 4 additional years. It's a 5-year extension, but they count for whatever reason. So this is the max extension they could give Dennis Schroeder after a certain period of time. However, if they wanted to do it now, he would be eligible for a 3-year extension, and the raises would be 5% raises. 5%, because this is the most that another team could sign with. 5% raises, 8. And then 3-year max. So 1, 2. So this is the money that if they do like today or tomorrow, they could do that right now. So he is eligible for money. So let's assume that they extend him and he works out great for them. Dennis. And it doesn't have to be at the max. But let's just go with 18 million flat. Whatever. Okay. Now let's look at Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma is, we got about 19 minutes till I got to do a radio hit. Okay, so Kuzma is basically eligible for, where's our salary cap? There it is. This max here. I'm going to copy this down so we have it handy. I'm not even looking at the chat right now. I better make sure we haven't dropped or anything. Okay. Okay, so this is the max range. So this is the Kuz max in bold. At this point, like, the Lakers aren't going to be looking for cap room. If you can get Kuzma to do a comparable extension, call it 16.5. I'm making up a number. I don't know what he's worth in the market, but I'm going to throw that in there. Okay. Now, who else we got? Alex Caruso, who I know is everyone's favorite, right? He signed a 2-year deal last year. He is not extension eligible. He'll be a free agent with bird rights. The market will probably be in the neighborhood of MLE money, in my opinion. Could be anywhere between 5 to 10 mil. Depends on how his season goes. Looking at it real quick, the mid-level projection is, yeah, we'll call it 10.995. So let's put in Alex Caruso at 8 million. I'm making up numbers here. Who else do they want to keep? KCB. All right, Montrez. Let's say that they want to keep Montrez. He wants to stay, wants to opt out, wants to. They only have non-bird. Most they can pay is 1.2. That's 120% raise. We're flying now because I'm running out of time. Montrez, Harrell, re-sign non-bird. 11,109,600. Who else are they re-signing? Wes Gasol is still there. McKinney, Taylor Horton Tucker. THT will put him in at 4 million. I'm just throwing out numbers now, like a budget. Oops. 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we'll do Wes Matthews at non-bird. This is like saying, okay, the Lakers are just, they're that good. The chemistry is that good. Everyone's happy. Everyone wants to stay. Everyone's perfect in their role. It's not usually how life works, but let's just roll with it for the purposes. Wes. And McKinney works out, so they keep him at his non-guaranteed number. Oops, I'm not sure what that was. Something just changed in the look. Let's go a little bit lower here. Hold on, I know I'm off the screen. 13. Let's say I want to do 14, 15 players. And real quick. Yep, there's my reminder. Running low on time. Make sure this total has everything. Okay. As you can see, we're getting somewhere with a budget. KCP, Harrell, Wes, Kuz, Caruso, Gasol, McKinney, Morris. So they have early bird for Morris. Early bird Morris. Let's do Morris early bird, and we're going to do that at 10,250. That would be his max. Early bird est max. Flying now. I mean, I don't know that that's what he's worth. We're just throwing in numbers. We can knock off a little bit of money anywhere we want. Don't think I left out anyone, did I? There's Kostas and Devontae Kaycock, Jared Dudley, right? It doesn't really matter, but we'll put in Jared. It could be any other minimum guy. And also that we have the first round pick. Ooh, that number's off. We lost that number. Yep, lost it there too. There it is. So and then okay. So they have one roster spot available, right? Or Kostas, or a min player, and one last player would be the exception that they would have, right? So the tax line. Let me make sure the chat is healthy. We're almost out of time. Because I am just at this point just rolling. Hard cap doesn't matter. The tax is what matters. This is going to be the projected tax line, not the hard cap. So the Lakers would be well over. So at this point, it doesn't even matter what the cap room is. They would be that much over. And they would be looking at 19. Tax calculator. We're going to say the threshold is 136, 606, 123, and that the team salary is 175,084, 694. Total tax. Lordy. Mama not gonna like this one. What's this? Oh yeah, so we don't, that's how much they're over, right? Okay, so over tax. Okay, salary and tax would be, this is why there's a certain level of thought that needs to go into it. Also, the Lakers would not have their they would have no biannual exception for two reasons. One, used it on Wes. Other is there over the apron. Illegal. Can't use full MLE, what we call the NTMLE, because over the apron. Can use taxpayer MLE because that doesn't trigger a hard cap. Cannot acquire any players via sign and trade because over the apron. These are the restrictions that they'll face. So if I plug in the last little bit here, and then we're going to go and look at the chat and wrap it up. The only thing we haven't done is look at the hard cap, so we can do that another time. The MMLE is projected to be this. So let's say that they use it here. MMLE player. So now our tax bill jumps. Calc. Give me a second here. There it is. And if I punch in instead of that, oops, I'm in the wrong book. There we are. Just a second. There it is. Okay. If we punch in 180, 974, 694. Without, let me revise that. That would be 160. So this would be 127 mil tax bill before using MMLE. And then if we punch in this tax, 160, 119991. Wait, that's the wrong line. Yeah, there it is. 160, 119991. That's like a messy, crazy, all too high number. They won't actually do that. That's just not realistic. So now you have to say, well, what is a little bit more realistic? This gets, Morris is the first to get cut. Replace him either either he stays, but let's just plug in a minimum player. Let's just do a min here. I think we've lost some of the colorings. Yeah, some of these are, I've got a few minutes, just a few minutes. We're gonna look at the chat in a second. All right, so let's cut Caruso down. Let's do Kuzma down. Let's do Schroeder down. Let's do Wes back at the minimum, or a guy. It doesn't have to be, and they'll still use their mid-level. And then let's just do one last tax calc. They are at team salary 163, 715, 450. You're talking about 72, 715, 163. So you see that's a huge difference, right? Why they're going to have to be really careful in how they spend their money. I just saved them $100 million. You see why this stuff is like no joke, you know what I mean? This is crazy. So let's look at the chat real quick because I'm out of time. I really appreciate everyone. There we go. Last thing I typed. All right, so there are some questions. I do not have time to answer all of them. But what I would like to say is, number one, sign up on the Patreon, and you can get on my Discord, and we'll chat all this stuff. Number two, ask in the comments, and I'll try to get back to and answer that. Number three, harder, ask on Twitter. I'm flooded right now. It's really hard for me to keep up with the mentions on Twitter. But we covered a whole lot right there on like what the Lakers could be looking at. Kuzma could make a crap ton of money. You can get the max. So what about Kuz money? Max. Is max realistic given what I just talked about when we did the budget for the Lakers and how quickly it ballooned up to 300 million, 300 something with tax? Crazy. So there's a limit to what they can pay guys like Kuzma and guys like Schroeder. They're going to have to find a way to make it all work. I have Montrez coming back. Maybe Montrez leaves and you're paying some of that money to Kuzma. Maybe you're going with more. Yeah, ESPN radio details. I'll be on whatever show's on live right now. Let me. That's not a very good job of promotion, is it? I I don't really know. Okay. The Scott Kaplan Show will be ringing in just a moment. As soon as it rings, I'm going to close the stream. Hopefully going to close the stream before then. Let's see here. KCB does not have a no trade clause like he used to, which was more of a function of the 1 year bird rule. If you're curious about that, search Laker Film Room KCP 1 year bird rule. I did a video on that. I am looking forward to making videos like that for this channel. I just haven't had time to do anything because of all these new contracts coming in, and I can't wait to get through that. Rushing through here. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen for next year, but we kind of broke down. I'm just looking at the chat. Is there anything? Some healthy dialogue. Keith, yeah, Markeith is no longer with Clutch. He was with Rock Nation, and then he was with God, where is he now? You'll have to look that up. I have that information just not in my head. Okay, I think that's it. All right, so what did we learn today? We went over LeBron's number. We went over AD's number, and we saw that AD made a difficult choice, but a reasonable choice. Could have gotten more. Number two, we looked at, or number three, rather, if AD's number two, we looked at what does it mean for the Lakers' books for next year. And you see very quickly, number one, there's no cap room. In fact, they're going to be a tax team. And if they're going to be a tax team, they should be investing in the players that they have if they're the right fit. And it makes them, in theory, more tradable. If you've got Kuzma on a longer deal, they can give Kuzma an extension up to the start of this season. So December 22nd, I think it's December 21st, would be the deadline to pay Kyle Kuzma. I don't know where they are on that. I know that it's at least been discussed. That part I can say for sure. They've at least had a conversation. Did it get past a certain point? I have no idea. That sort of stuff doesn't come out anytime soon, or if it does, that's not my area of study, trying to break that stuff. Kuzma, Caruso, THT, who they expect to have a big role. Whoever fits, whoever works out, they're going to pay to keep. If they're going to add a free agent, it's not going to be an expensive one. It's just not. That's not where the Lakers are anymore. So it's about developing what you have and then trading what doesn't fit for other pieces, developing the talent that you have and filling in around the margins. I guess what we didn't cover was the hard cap. The main answer in 30 seconds is that they did not stretch Quinn Cook and they did not stretch Jordan Bell. And had they known that LeBron and AD were going to extend, they probably would have. I think that they didn't know that this was going to happen. Or they knew that AD was going to come back, but they didn't know what he was going to do for 5. So basically, this could have been trimmed by a third. So if we just go like this, I've got no time. So if you just go like this, plus this, and divide by 3. This is what would have been on the books this year, next year, and the next year, 3 years. So you see how they could have saved $1 million this year, which would have allowed them to go to 15. Instead, they're stuck at 14. Adam, I don't sleep. I did sleep at some point. I did get some sleep at some point, but not the last few days. But there was one night I just couldn't take it. Make sure you subscribe, like the stream. It means a lot. It helps with the algorithm so people can find me. Hit the notification bell so that you can know when I'm streaming. The other thing is, if you sign up for the Patreon, I will hook you up with the Discord. The Patreon says at any level, like there's a $5 level and then there's a $15 level. I'll get you into the Discord at the $5 level because you participated. Just hit me up. I'm being extra generous. I want to get people involved in this community. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It was really awesome. Yeah, we do have Attorney Maybe coming up in a week. The California kind of shutting down is a little tricky. And then Patreon chat here if you want to subscribe, not subscribe, donate. Patreon and then Venmo. Venmo it's very helpful for me to obviously feed my family and stuff. So this helps. Every little bit helps. But then also sharing it, like getting more people to participate. If you like this and if I can make it lucrative enough to pay for my time, I will do it all the time. Not all the time, but regularly, like more than once a week. And I enjoy it, so I would love to do it. So chat, Those watching on the replay, the more you share this, the more likes I get. I'm new to the monetization method at YouTube. I don't even know how it works. I want to gauge how much this is going to lead to. And if it's enough, then I would love to do it, because I have an absolute amount of, I have tremendous fun doing it. Only issue, of course, is that I have to budget my time, and my time is valuable, as much as I'd love to be generous with it. And I am as generous as I can be. That's my last reminder. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it. I want to thank my wife, Dorothy, for the music at the front. If you're looking for a producer, please reach out. And if you are like graphics and animation and you're curious about my daughter's work, she did the intro, and I could send you some stuff she's done on YouTube as well. I think that'll do it. You could always check me out on Bleacher Report, Twitter, ERIC, PINCUS. For the bottom of the stream, I will throw in, if you just are catching this now, I feel sorry for you, but this is where we were working. Tina, I think that I don't know how to trigger a super chat. I thought this was a super chat because some people did donate through the chat. So if you see the ability to, I'm going to have to experiment with this, but hit me up if I'm not doing something right. Email me. My email is in the top of the sheet. It's eric.pincus@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for participating, and we will do another stream soon.